Rescue teams in Thailand have found 12 missing boys and their assistant coach inside a cave complex showing signs of life 9 days after they went missing. The divers from a Thai Navy SEAL unit were near a chamber containing an elevated rock mount nicknamed Pattaya Beach, where rescuers, which could have provided the boys with a refuge when rains flooded the cave, blocking the way out. A video posted on the Thailand's Navy SEAL Facebook page revealed the moment when a team of international divers and elite Navy SEALs unit found the lost boys 400 meters from the estimated target point known by rescuers as Pattaya Beach. 12 boys and their assistant soccer coach had been found alive by rescuers inside a Thai cave complex 9 days after they went missing. FBI officials have arrested a man who discussed setting off a bomb during a 4th of July event in Cleveland. The accused, Demetrius Pitts, who had expressed allegiance to Al-Qaeda, was arrested after a meeting with an undercover FBI agent where he said he planned to plant a bomb at the event celebrating the U.S. Independence Day holiday. In 2015, U.S. law enforcement officials said they had arrested more than 10 people inspired by Islamic State militant group ahead of the 4th of July holiday. The U.S. said its pressure campaign on Iran is aimed at reducing Tehran's oil revenue to zero in an effort to force Iranian leadership to change its behavior in West Asia. Senior U.S. State Department policy advisor Brian Hook said that the U.S. goal was to get as many US countries as possible down to zero Iranian oil imports. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani in Zurich for a two-day official visit in Switzerland. President Rouhani's two-day visit to Switzerland is aimed at strengthening bilateral ties amidst fears that the U.S. may impose new sanctions on the country after its withdrawal from a deal with Iran on its nuclear program. Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh took to the streets to demand more rights as United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres and World Bank President Jim Yong Kim visited them in Cox's Bazar. Groups of refugees welcomed the UN efforts but also stated that they want justice in the form of citizenship and recognition from the state of Myanmar. The World Bank chief assured up to $480 million to aid Rohingyas in Bangladesh, as Kim said that he had heard heartbreaking stories from the refugee camps. British Prime Minister Theresa May has said that she warned European Union leaders last week that the British Parliament will not approve an EU exit deal unless there is clarity on what its future relationship with the bloc will look like. Lawmakers are expected to vote in the autumn on the terms of Britain's withdrawal from the EU. During a statement to Parliament, May told lawmakers that there are still real differences dividing Britain and the European Commission on Northern Ireland. The leaders of German Chancellor Angela Merkel's Christian Democratic Union and their Bavarian allies, the Christian Social Union, met in Berlin to resolve a row over migrant policy after Interior Minister Horst Seehofer threatened to resign, casting doubt on whether her coalition can survive. The CSU had threatened to impose new controls at the German border this week if they deemed that agreements and proposals Merkel brought back from a European Union summit were insufficient to ease the migrant burden. U.S. President Donald Trump welcomed Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte to the White House. The two leaders are expected to discuss trade and the tariffs placed by the Trump administration upon the European Union. During his meeting with Netherlands Prime Minister President Donald Trump also issued a veiled threat to the World Trade Organization, warning that if the WTO doesn't treat the U.S. properly, he will be doing something. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he had spoken to Mexican President-elect Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador about border security and believed the new Mexican leader would help the United States with its border issue. Trump said he and Lopez Obrador also discussed the North American Free Trade Agreement and a possible separate trade deal between Mexico and the U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump has said U.S. officials would meet soon with European counterparts to discuss a spate towards trade tariffs, saying the European Union wanted to work something out. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he met with 4 potential Supreme Court justices. The Republican president said he will make a decision on a nominee in the next few days. An opening was created on the High Court last week while Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement. Firefighters battled fires on moorland outside the northern English city of Manchester, prompting authorities to declare a major incident. Hot weather and wind over the last week have sparked fires in parts of the northern English countryside, unprecedented in recent times in an area better known for its rainy weather. There have been no reports of casualties. Syrian army has released a video showing celebrations in the former rebel town of Dail in the northwestern Dera province of Syria after it accepted a deal to return to government control. A string of Syrian rebel-held towns and villages accepted government rule on Saturday as insurgent lines collapsed in parts of the southwest under an intense bombardment by regime forces. Cement makers Lafarge Holcim has said its French predecessor company Lafarge SA has been put under formal investigation into allegations that it funded armed militant groups in Syria to keep a plant open. The confirmation comes after a judicial source said the company was being investigated in France for the payments and abetting crimes against humanity. The affair relates to the Jalabia cement plant operated by the company in northern Syria between 2011 and 2014. Senior finance aide of the Mexico's new president, Manuel Lopez Obrador, has said the president will push a pension reform and is not contemplating changing the constitution or major laws. The leftist Lopez Obrador won a landslide victory on Sunday, besting a 4-candidate field with more than 53% of the votes in preliminary results. His Morena party could also win outright majorities in both chambers of Congress. Striking Venezuelan nurses took to the streets of Caracas to demand a salary raise. The nurses banged drums and pots and pans while chanting slogans. The protests are in their 6th day, with nurses calling for a raise to a salary they say is the practical equivalent of working for free. In addition to the issue of low salaries, protesters are also drawing attention to the crumbling infrastructure of Venezuela's hospitals and the lack of medicines and medical equipment. Givenchy's artistic director Claire White Keller has opened Paris Haute Couture Week with a homage to the house's founder, Hubert de Givenchy, who died in March. The show, which took place in the gardens of France's National Archives, presented dresses inspired by the creator's most iconic designs worn by stars. More recently, White Keller designed the long-sleeve boat neck gown that Meghan Markle wore for her wedding to Prince Harry. Spain's Coast Guard has rescued over 300 migrants from the sea over the weekend. On Saturday, 111 migrants were rescued off the coast of Spain from 4 dinghies, while on Sunday, the Coast Guard intercepted a further 160 migrants carried by 5 dinghies. Most of the rescue operations took place in the Strait of Gibraltar. Belgian prosecutors have said that 6 people suspected of plotting a bomb attack on a meeting of an exiled Iranian opposition group in France had been arrested. 2 suspects in Belgium were intercepted by Belgian police with 500 grams of homemade explosive produced of easily available chemicals, as well as a detonation device found in their car. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has met the families of the victims of the deadly suicide attack in Afghanistan, Jalalabad, that killed at least 20 people, including several members of the minority Sikh community. Family members, accompanied by members of the Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, met Sushma Swaraj, where discussed about security of the community members in Afghanistan, passport-related issues, education, funding of Sikh orphans in Afghanistan. Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Vora has visited pre-set relief camps and emergency operations centre in Budgaon district to review the preparations after the weather department issued flood warnings in the state. Jhelum River is constantly flowing above the danger level in Kashmir, threatening to submerge low-lying residential areas in a repetition of 2014 catastrophic floods. However, the authorities are prepared this time, as they have already set up relief camps on higher grounds. Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama has launched an activity-based happiness curriculum for school students in New Delhi. The curriculum includes a happiness period of 45 minutes for all students up to class 8 in Delhi government schools and will begin with a 5-minute mediation practice and other activities like mental exercises and value education. The spiritual leader at the gathering said the world was in a dire need of moral ethics education, which is not religion-based but based on common sense and science. A leopard safari was inaugurated in Siliguri district of West Bengal to promote animal tourism in the city. It is the first of its kind leopard safari to be inaugurated in India, where the animals will be roaming in natural forest area. India's big cats are under threat, with increasing number of these spotted feline beauties being poached for their hide and body parts. Shopkeepers and traders affiliated staged protests across the country against Walmart's proposed $16 billion acquisition of e-commerce firm Flipkart. The Confederation of All India Traders said the US retail giant's buyout of Bengaluru-based Flipkart will create a monopoly in the retail market and drive mom-and-pop stores out of business. The Secretary General of CAIT said Walmart's entry into the Indian market is very disadvantageous for traders. The textile industry in the Asian city of Varanasi continues to bear the brunt of goods and service tax, which was rolled out last year. Traders claim that the sales of their produce, which comprise of saris, have declined by 25 to 30%, which have impacted the weavers the most. Most of the textile industry claim that it has been a challenging year for them. Many have lost employment and the industry has nearly halved its production. Sikhs in Amritsar city held a prayer meet at the Golden Temple and condemned the deadly suicide attack in Afghanistan's Jalalabad city on Monday. At least 17 members of the Sikh minority were killed in the blast. The Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee has strongly condemned the attack and urged the government to ensure the safety of the minorities. Hollywood actress Felicity Jones is married. The actress tied the knot with movie director Charles Gard at a star-studded ceremony at Surrey Castle in Oxfordshire, England. The 34-year-old actress is known for her starring roles in movies including 2016's Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, and Stephen Hawking's biopic The Theory of Everything. Chilean filmmaker Nicolas Lopez has been accused of sexual harassment by 8 actresses and models. They have alleged that Lopez called them for work meetings either at his production company or at his home and then asked them to have sex in exchange for promises of work. Denying the allegations, Lopez said he did not do anything serious or criminal. Television series The Big Bang Theory actress Kelly Coco got married to Carl Cook, a professional equestrian in San Diego, California. Announcing the wedding, Carl announced a wedding picture on Instagram and captioned it, "Legally Casey Squared." Now, Kelly wore a white lace gown with matching cape for her wedding and later wore a jumpsuit for their reception. The Manhattan District Attorney has announced new criminal charges against film producer Harvey Weinstein, who has been charged with rape and other sexual crimes in May. The new charges include predatory sexual assault and involve a third woman, in addition to the 2 mentioned in the earlier charges. The Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to the first set of charges. Belgium have booked their place in the quarter-finals of the 2018 FIFA World Cup after edging Japan in a 5-goal thriller at Rostov-on-Don. The Red Devils found were 2 goals down heading into the final 21 minutes of the match. Roberto Martinez's side fought back through goals from Jan Vertonghen and substitute Marwan Fellaini. And with seconds left for the end of regulation time, Nasser Chadli tapped home the winner in the 4th minute of stoppage time to seal Belgium's place in the last 8. And facing the dark horses in the quarterfinals will be Brazil after they sailed through with a 2-0 win over Mexico. The 5-time champions were kept at bay by the Mexican custodian Guillermo Oaxaca, but close range tap-ins by Neymar and Roberto Firmino in the second half saw Brazil enter the last fight for the 16th time in World Cup history. Fans in Rio de Janeiro cheered wildly as their national team qualified for the World Cup quarter-finals with a 2-0 win over Mexico. Celebrating fans are hoping for a 6th championship from Brazil at this year's World Cup in Russia. Brazilian superstar Neymar, the world's most expensive footballer, scored the first and made the second in a scintillating match. The last 2 quarter-final berths will be sealed tonight. Sweden and Switzerland battle it out at St. Petersburg for a place in the last 8. Sweden emerged as surprising winners from Group F following their crushing 3-0 win over Mexico, while Switzerland came through unbeaten from Group E, finishing second. The last 16 action concludes at the Spartak Stadium in Moscow, where Colombia take on England for a place in the quarter-final. The 3 Lions have never lost to the South American side in 6 previous meetings, including 1 competitive meeting at the 1998 World Cup. Only once in the history of the competition have Colombia progressed into the quarter-finals, doing so at the 2014 edition in Brazil.